And then our main goal when we get a child is how can he communicate? How his cognition, does he know, you know, uh, to turn on and off, and how where he's at what level. So then we give ideas to a lot of the parents on how to start using the communication devices for them and what's appropriate and what's not. So it's 90% of parents that we get, they want an iPad, but then they come out with other things because they realize that iPad is not really going to help a child.
Mm-mm. No.
There's other devices, there's other ways to help with communication needs for a child. But that's another training that we also have for the parents. That mainly 0 to 3 that the caseworkers send in referrals for it.
Do you concentrate on early intervention, or I know you said you all ages you'll accept, but do you concentrate on helping people right at the beginning of their journey?
Me and Tiana are parent representatives for the early start, which is 0 to 3, and then we have other parent specialists that do the 6 to 21 for the school age, and then the community navigators. Right now, I do all three of them.
I was like, don't you do all of it? Weren't you just messing us on yesterday?
We're picking up on that.
With most of them. Yeah, I've been doing all three of them. And then I also have a really good contact with relationship with the NICU social workers from Loma Linda. So um, we have like little baskets that we do that help the families that stay in the hospital, a little cooler that they can put their food in there. There's little things that help the times I've been in the hospital with my son that I wish I had. And so we kind of adapted that we were able to do NICU baskets for the families that are there. But I also, a lot of the social workers that contact me and say, I have this family and, child's really involved. Most likely he will be referred to regional center. But can we start them with SSI? Because they could apply for SSI and everything. They'll get $50 a month while the child's the baby's in the hospital. But then after they get discharged, then they get the full amount. But at least it's already in place.
Yeah.
It takes 3 to 4 months. It's already started. We help with CCS, California Children's Services application. Start that because if the child's gonna need equipment and all that. And sometimes the social workers, they're so busy and overwhelmed that they kind of need that. Marissa, can you come? I get a lot of the calls from social workers that in ICUs, the child's failure to thrive.
I kind of wanted to go back to, the assessment, and I'm sure, everybody has the hope that their child might be able to go to school. Is that part of that assessment? And is there criteria and a threshold? And how is it, if they go to school, does the school system handle it? And I know there's a lot I'm throwing at you there, but I'm just kind of curious.
So when in regards to the IEP, the process of IEP, when children, they do get assessments. They're assessed by the school psychologist. And what they do is different assessments to see what the areas of concern are, what type of needs need to be met. And they put those things, they kind of articulate or make the IEP according to what they get from the assessments.
They do a psychoeducational assessment. So it's mainly based on education.
That's the word. Yes.
Yeah. So, and then a lot of them, when I do the IEP training, I tell parents, prepare yourself because it's going to be by month. So you're hoping your child is turning 3, but then when you get an assessment that cognitively he's at 12 months, they do a triennial assessment of everything every 3 years. So at 3, at 6, at 9, at 12, at 15, and at 18. So, when my son was 12 and he had that assessment, getting ready to go to junior high, I was so comfortable with doing the IEP assessments. I had everything in place. I felt I was an expert on it. I was like, I do the IEPs. I'm good. But when I sat down and they were going, he's 12 and they're reading that he's at 3 years old, pre-K levels. I think at that moment, I'm like, and I was kind of glad that my caseworker came with me and she saw me that I think I had that look. I was so surprised. And, so she kind of looked at me, my eyes got watery and she's like, do you need a break? And I'm like, yeah. I'm usually really good on reading the assessments before my IEP, but I was an expert. I didn't, I knew I expected what I expected, but then I was like, it really took me by surprise of how, and I think at that moment I realized, okay, Marissa, he's 12. At 7 they told me he plateaued. He's not gonna learn anymore. I'm like, no. He at 7 years old he could still learn. He's just gonna learn different, and we're just gonna have to work differently. But at 12, I realized, like, you know what? Then we're going to stamp his name. He'll learn how to stamp it. He'll learn how to show his ID. He might not ever learn how to, he traces, he can write his name. He'll trace, but it has to be like really big, but he'll trace his name. And then right now he'll be 31. Cognitively, he's, academically, he's still at a pre-K. He doesn't read or write. He understands certain letters. He knows his colors by sign language. So the green, the yellow. If I sign it, he'll be like, oh, that's yellow. Oh, that's green. But he knows he lives in Chino. Repetition is just the most important thing to me was, for him to learn where he lived, know his name. He doesn't know his age. He knows it's his birthday because we start working on this from January, but every day is like, it's my birthday today. It's my birthday today. So finally this week, he's so excited. Mom, it's going to be my birthday. Yes. And after that, no more. He cannot say if it's a birthday today.
That's what he's after.
Yes. Yeah. So, and then, Mom, how old are you? Oh, I'm 20, I'm 15 years different. Like, oh, I'm 30. Now I've been practicing. You're going to be 31. You're not 30, 31, 31.
All right. Well, I feel like we could probably go another hour or so, but I got to be the guy that says, well, our time is winding down. But I do want to give you the opportunity to maybe tell us what's on the horizon. Do you guys have any, plans for something that you really haven't? Maybe we can get a scoop here and you could tell us about something new that you guys are doing, and how to get a hold of you would be important too.
We're forever having trainings on our website. We have our trainings are listed there. And then also we have a calendar of events that go out every month that shares all the different things that go on in Riverside and San Bernardino County with the disability community, whether it be in person, whether it be online, just a ton of different supports that go on. And we're just constantly letting, the community know that there's things out there. So if they can check out our website, and we'll give that information.
Yeah. Now that we're growing, that we grew, we have full staff now with our 3 different programs. You do not have to be a regional center client.
Good.
You could just be a parent that has a child with ADHD, ADD, like I said, fetal alcohol spectrum, a learning disability, that is getting ready to graduate high school, but they have a learning disability and, they're concerned. We have our resources to help with the, like Department of Rehab, other resources that could help the ones that don't qualify for in a regional center, but there's other services. Our program would help, could help with that. We're trying to go more to more health fairs and be out there and let the community know that we're here. If they just need, what, I just realized that my son, right now I'm working with 2 families that their children, 18 years old, high functioning autism. They never need a regional center. They never need they only have the IEP to help. Now that they graduated with the high school diploma, they don't know what to do. Now what? Can't really work. He's staying just at home in the computer. They don't know what to do. So I have like 3 families that are really worried now and looking for, say, what's next.
What's next? Yeah.
So they call help with that.
We help with that too. So more trainings, more.
Yeah, and our website is www.esfrn.org. They can check out our website.